voice, guys. We have three different passive voice tenses. As always, we have present, past, and future. When do we use passive voice? Okay. We use passive voice when we want to put the object of the sentence on the first place. Okay. You're going to understand it a little bit better when I show you some examples, but it says we usually use the active voice where the subject goes first, okay? So when you say a sentence out loud, for example, my mom bought lemons. My mom is the subject, and then the verb bought, and then the complement, right? The lemons. My mom bought lemons. That is active voice, okay? As it says, where the subject goes first, then the verb, and at the end, the direct object. The person or thing that receives the action. On this case, it was the lemons. The lemons were the object, okay? My mom bought lemons. Lemons are the object. What happens if lemons, we put it on the first place? Okay, we would say lemons were bought by my mom, okay? And that is passive voice. When we use passive voice, is to show interest in the person or object that receives the action of the sentence rather than the person or object that performs it. Sometimes we use the passive voice because we do not know or do not want to mention who performed the action. We make the passive using the verb to be plus our past participle. We start the sentence with the object. Only the form of be changes to make the tense. So you can use am, is, or are for present, was or were for past, and will be for future, okay? So verb to be changes. It conjugates, okay? The past participle stays the same. Here are examples of the passive in its most common tenses. First of all, we have present simple, okay? Frida Kahlo's museum is visited by hundreds of people. So, for present simple, we have our subject, which will be the object, okay? Will be the object of a sentence. Am, is, or are. The verb in past participle and the complement. So in present simple, for example, we have the object, which is Frida Kahlo's museum. It is not Frida Kahlo. It is Frida Kahlo's museum, okay? Is visited by hundreds of people. This is passive voice because the object, Frida Kahlo's museum, is on the first place. And then you have the verb to be on present, is, and you have your verb in past participle, visited. Okay? So by hundreds of people. This would be active voice if we said hundreds of people visit Frida Kahlo's museum, because we would be talking about the people and not about the museum. Is it clear? We'll see some examples so it can be clearer, okay? Then we have past simple, okay? Beautiful self-portraits were painted by Frida. So the object are the self-portraits, okay? We're talking about the object of the self-portraits. We are not talking about Frida. Active voice would be Frida painted a lot of beautiful self-portraits. But we don't want the attention to be on Frida. We want the attention to be on the self-portraits. So we put beautiful self-portraits or object, where, which is was or were, the verb to be in past, the verb in past participle, painted, and then the complement by Frida. Here are the formulas, okay? And then we have the future simple. So the future simple, we have the bright blue house, which is our object, will be proclaimed, will be, okay? We have will and the verb to be in its simplest form. Proclaimed is our verb in past participle as a national cultural heritage. So here are our formulas. For future simple, we use our subject, which is our object, will be, our verb in past participle, and our complements. Okay, so look at the examples. Take a look at the examples, okay? First, we have regular present simple in active voice. Lots of people, a lot of people, visit the Louvre Museum. Who are we talking about in this sentence? Who can tell me? Who are we talking about? About the people, exactly. Lots of people visit the Louvre Museum. What happens if the Louvre Museum, which is our object, this one is our object. What happens if we change it to the beginning? Okay, this is what happens. The Louvre Museum is visited by lots of people. So basically what you do is you change the subject and the object so the attention fully makes emphasis on the object, okay? So the Louvre Museum is visited by lots of people. And here you're using your verb to be, and you're using your, in present, of course, and you're using your verb in past participle, okay? So just write the past participle. And then let's see the next example. Active voice. Van Gogh painted the famous canvas Starry Night. Who are we talking about on this example? Exactly, on Van Gogh. But we want to change the attention. We have the famous canvas Starry Night. This is the name of the canvas, okay? This is our object, el cuadro, the canvas, the famous canvas Starry Night. We're going to change it to the beginning. Was painted, your verb to be in past tense, okay? Past. And your verb in past participle, painted, by Van Gogh. So our object has the entire attention. Our object is the famous canvas Starry Night. Perfect. So any questions up until now? We're going to see an example of future. But is it clearer? Basically, Isaac, you change the object. The first thing you need to do is identify the object in an active voice sentence and change it to the beginning, okay? So we're gonna practice. Let me just show you. All right, so I'm gonna erase everything. And let's go with the next example. With future tense, okay? We have active voice, the normal sentence. Prince Charles of Wales will take the throne in a few years. The attention is, our subject is Prince Charles of Wales. And our object is the throne, okay? So we're going to change the throne, our object, to the beginning of the sentence. The throne will be future and verb to be. Taken is our verb in past participle by Prince Charles of Wales in a few years. See the difference? See how you change the throne, which is our object, to the beginning of the sentence. And finally, we have famous painters and artists will leave a legacy for next generations. So here we're talking about famous painters and artists. This is our, I'm sorry, I don't know why I underlined this, but famous painters and artists are our subject, and we want to change that to the end of the sentence. And legacy, our legacy is our object, okay? So legacy is going to the beginning of the sentence. So for example, a legacy will be left by famous painters and artists for next generation.